what do you do to kind of help Zach out?
Let him know it's not all on him, and just be there to support him. Ultimately, it's on me to make sure that this whole offense is making the right decisions and doing right longer. And the NFL is tricky. It's hard to win football games, and sometimes a lot of times it's not pretty, and it doesn't need to be pretty. And so we're there to support him. He's, like I've said numerous times, he's made of all the right stuff. He'll learn from it. He's approached this week of practice. Not going to say any different, but he's in the right mindset to go do right for himself, but more importantly, this team.
Was he able, or did you talk to him at all about kind of tuning out the outside noise? I think for the first time in his career, this is where he really received significant criticism from everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, we do that constantly, but not necessarily during the season, because that's something you want to talk about in the off season when you do have the time sitting at home to watch TV and do all the things that you get to do in the off season. I truly don't believe. I mean, he's always said it. He's never read it. He never looks at it. He doesn't want to look at it, and I believe him. I know a lot of people do say that, whether it's true or not, who knows? But I think he blocks all that stuff. He's got enough stuff on his plate to worry about. Kind of what everyone else is thinking. He's just focused on his own job and going about that.
Is him limiting the turnovers on careless plays like that, is that a mindset? Does he just have to adopt a mindset where the ball is really valuable?
Yeah, the ball is the most important stat in all of NFL football, and I'm guessing if you went to even college football, it probably is the same thing too, right? It's the stat that never lies. When you win the turnover battle, just your percentage of winning football games. We want Zach to be aggressive for sure, and we talk about that all the time. We want our entire offense. I want to call a game aggressively, but I don't want to call a game carelessly. I want our tight ends to be aggressive in the run blocking, but they can't be careless, meaning get holds and stuff like that. Same thing with our receivers on the perimeter, and it's no different for the quarterback. You want them to be aggressive, but never careless with the ball. And again, that starts with me making sure he understands the difference between being aggressive and obviously being careless.
What's the balance there when it comes to you want him to be that, you love his mobility, but when he's scrambling so much instead of getting the ball, throw it away much quicker?
Yeah, it's the second play. We always have guidelines. We'll always have guidelines in terms of what we're going to tell, the receivers. I've heard people call it recess ball, right? Like, it's just you don't always know what's going to happen. You can call the perfect play, but they called the perfect defense, and you still don't know what always is going to happen, right? There's 22 variables out there at all times. So when the first play is over and the second play begins, again, you have the guidelines in terms of where you're telling the receivers to go, how to line to continue to block, but also, the quarterback to make the right decision. The quarterback has to make the right decision in the pocket, just like he has to make the right decision out of the pocket, and there's some things that we can do better in coaching too, in terms of, just giving them some fundamentals to make it a little easier on himself. So I won't get into all that, but again, I put that as much on me as I do on him.
Mike, his numbers under pressure, which obviously I'm sure you guys chart all that stuff, are so far inferior to other numbers. I think it's like 19% completion percentage or something like that. What do you do to alleviate that? Why is he so ineffective? I mean, obviously it hurts every quarterback to get pressure, but do you have to change your?
Yeah, no, we just got to continue to, coach every single one of those plays, whether it be the clean pocket with no pressure or obviously the pockets with the pressure. And then when the pocket breaks down, again, making the right decisions there. He knows it. He sees it. We're coaching it. And again, I put it as much on me when these decisions are being made as anybody else.
It seems like maybe it's selective perception just off the game, but does he leave the pocket sometimes a little too early, where there is a clean pocket and he abandons it? I mean, is that something you got to work on?
Yeah, there's you could watch the totality of the game and say, hey, you could have stayed in here, or hey, you could have stepped up and took off, or hey, that was the right. Everyone's a little bit different. There's always going to be those opportunities to not leave the pocket, remain a passer. Everyone's going to be a little bit different, and he just needs to continue to learn and see that and understand it, go through it through practice, and he does.
Saul he's used the phrase a couple times this week of it's okay to be boring sometimes.
Yeah.
Like how do you get that message across? Because Zach has talked about how sometimes he gets tired of throwing the ball out of bounds and he wants to make a play. And that's kind of like where the interceptions.
Yeah, totally. I mean, there's a lot of teams in this league that have won kind of with boring football, to quote Saleh right there. And I thought he made a lot of good decisions, over the last few weeks that allowed us to not put our defense or our team in a bad situation, so he knows that, and again, he'll continue to grow there.
Do you feel like he could be aided some with quick passes, like a boost in quick passes?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. It's anytime you can get a quarterback in a rhythm, with some of the quick passes and the RPOs, and that's stuff that we're always charting. I know we're in the top third of the league in the amount of RPOs ran. Sometimes you can't tell because the ball is going to get handed off or it's going to get thrown. We actually threw a few in that game, and then in quick game we're right in the middle of the pack in terms of percentage across the league. So I talk about balance all the time, and there's balance in that too, because if you get too top heavy in one, then you're going to lose some in different areas. So that's something we're always going to be looking at. Again, we feel like we're about middle in the pack, or we know analytically we're middle of the pack with that stuff. And I think again it comes down to me getting these guys to execute that stuff, because those are the plays, those RPOs in the quick game, those are your efficiency plays. Those are your plays to keep you on track, to keep you in third and manageable. And we have been very explosive this year. We're in the top 10 in explosive plays in the league right now, but we haven't been as efficient as we need to be. And being efficient keeps us, again, like I said, being in third and manageable right there. And that's on me to get that corrected, because that's little details. Efficiency is details, and details is coaching, and so it's myself and the rest of the coaches to make sure we get that done.
How do you get the rushing game going, especially this week, that helps Zach out, especially against a defense that's top 5 in that area?
Yeah, no, they're going to be a struggle in a lot of areas, right? I mean, I know, obviously having Micah Hyde out for the last few weeks, but there are other safeties coming in. They're really good players. They look like starters in this league, and they're playing like it. So every facet of this game is going to be an incredible challenge for our guys. Anytime you go up against a defense like Buffalo, it's a challenge, and that's what we talked to our guys about on Wednesday. There's going to be a mindset. They know we're going to do what we do, and we know they're going to do what they do, and they don't do much, but what they do it extremely well. And so it's going to come down to us being fundamentally sound and execute with intent.
Why was Elijah's role on Sunday so limited?
For kind of that first half and really the third quarter, I mean, we were in 12 personnel quite a bit. We moved Garrett over to X for the first time, and obviously he sat there at X for the entire game. And then just with Corey being out, we wanted to make sure that we got Mims an opportunity, just having a bigger body. And I thought Mims did a lot of really good stuff. Not necessarily that filled up the stat sheet, although he had some good plays, but he did a lot of stuff without the ball that was very crucial for just different situations throughout the game. So again, we'll continue to incorporate Elijah in some of the stuff, along with Brax, along with our run game, along with our tight ends. Again, we're trying to get all these guys involved.
Can you use games like this, especially against a great team like this, as a measuring stick for where your offense is?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's again I'm not really concerned about the measuring stick with our offense. I'm concerned about trying to put these guys in position to go win a football game, right? And again, sometimes it's not going to be the prettiest thing. When we went into Denver, we knew it was going to be a struggle. You're playing a top 3 defense, and our defense was playing extremely well. And I need to be disciplined enough to call it in a way that is going to put our team in the best position to win football games, from an offensive standpoint. So, again, it's going to be a struggle, but it's going to be a great challenge, and I know our guys are going to be up for it.
Mike, with Elijah Moore, I think that a lot of people, myself included, looked at him in college and said, this guy's prototypical NFL slot receiver. Like, that's where he should be playing in the slot. You guys feel, I know you rotate everyone, but for the most part, it seems like you feel differently, like you like him outside. What do you see in Elijah that makes you say, this guy's, he can has value elsewhere, but we kind of like him outside as opposed to inside, and that's kind of what the masses believe.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's capped at really anything. I mean, I think he can do a lot of stuff, right? It's when we put him where we put him a year ago, I thought he had a tremendous 5-6 game span. He was doing good stuff before that too, but really statistically hit it off in that 5 to 6 game span before unfortunately he went out. And he was a huge explosive machine for us. I always kind of use the comparison of Brandon Cooks, in terms of he can run really fast for that 15 to 20 yards and stop on a dime, and I think Joe's talked about that, Flacco, before, just how well he stops, and so when you can run really fast and you get defenses turn and you get into that intermediate level for explosives, he did that at a very high rate a year ago, and I felt like he was so close in game 3, game 4 to have some more of those explosive plays. That for one reason or another it just didn't come out that way. So again, he's not limited in anything he can do. It was a role that we felt like he had that he'll continue to be really good at. But again, we're always going to be fluid. We're always going to be moving people around, because once you get good at that, they know that, and now you got to again put them in other positions to be successful and get production.
Are you confident he's in the right mind space right now?
I am. I feel really, you'd have to ask him that, but again, I've really liked his approach, and I think he's in a great mindset to go help this team win football games.
Like when you talked about Green Bay, we talked about your conversations with your brother. Curious, when he plays an opponent on Sunday that you're facing in a week, is that Monday conversation a little different? Can he help you, better understand Buffalo?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we played them twice last year, right? And it's the same. They've, just like I was telling with New England, they've made their adjustments and they've evolved like all good coaches and good teams do. So they did have some adjustments from a year ago in what they're doing. But we talked to them last week, and I just said, it's the tape's out there. It's not gonna be too difficult to figure out what they do. They do it really, really well. I think they almost kind of know what they're gonna do, and it doesn't really matter, because they're good at every single level. The D-line, the linebackers, the secondary, and it comes down to the offense executing. So he had to fit a game plan that matched their players. We got to do the same for ours and go out and again execute at the highest level with intent.
What is Vaughn at?
Just crazy explosiveness on the edge, right? I mean, it's just, and he's not just a third down guy. He's not just a sack guy on third down. He can create plays in the run game. He can disrupt you in the pass game and even in quick game, right? He's extremely intelligent. I know that's kind of out there, but he's extremely intelligent. When you watch him, you can just see where his head's moving, watching the play clock, doing all the things that a Hall of Famer is going to do. And he's added an element that they didn't have a year ago, and it's just made him even better.
With Zach, there were a couple plays where it looked like Denzel was behind the defense, one where Garrett was behind the defense, and you just didn't see them. Is there anything you can do to help him, or is there any coaching point to help him with that, where he just doesn't see the guy when he's breaking free?
Yeah, sometimes it's the concepts you're calling, like. You're reading one side, and all of a sudden something weird happened on the left side that you had no idea was going on, and that's across the league. I mean, there's veteran quarterbacks they can't totally see everything all the time, right? But when there are times when that is the front side of the concept and something's missed or whatnot, you get the tablet and you kind of go over it and you coach from there. So I thought his eyes were in the right place, for the most part throughout the game. It's just again when the pocket breaks down, making the right decision for our offense.